so good. All right, so here we are, and I'm starting now, and let's just make sure that you're watching the show. Are you seeing it live?
No, I'm not seeing anything.
Okay, so you still have to go. I'm going to go ahead and open up my Skype now, which is kind of bad because it's, if anybody were to watch this. But you have to go back in Skype and click on the show, click on my account.
Oh, okay, I have to go back in.
Yeah, you got to go back and watch, yeah.
So let me go back.
Yeah, this just fast forward through this. You know, when you go back to the video, if you do go back to it, I think you probably will.
Okay, I am here on. Now you're gonna email me that, right?
Well, it's the same one. It's the same one.
All this energy.
The Skype one. You want me to send it to you again?
No, hold it, just 1 second. Let me go on Skype. Okay, right here. Why don't you send it?
Oh, good. Yeah. Oh, good. Good for you, boy. You're getting your chops up quick.
Okay, live stream. Okay.
And then you'll see the show. There's a show. It should be a show going on right now.
Okay, says here. You want me to send it to you again?
No.
It was back. Okay, get your chops up quick. So I'm hearing everything what you're saying.
Oh, okay. So do you see the guitar?
I see guitar down the bottom. I don't see a big screen.
It's just dark because I'm going to put stuff on it. Like what?
I see on my left down your guitar. You have a hand on your body.
Yeah. But look at Skype.
You see you moving the mouse.
Yeah, look at Skype. You see? You're watching. You're watching, Boris. You see Skype on there? It's 3-second delay, that's why. You see it now?
Yeah, I see you.
Okay. All right. Good enough. Okay, so we can we'll leave this run. The first 2 minutes is just us yapping. So now I'm going to go into the lesson. So if you need to go back when you watch the video, just go back and I think you can scroll forward, okay? All right. So I'm going to leave the phone on and let me get through to your lesson. So first thing is, we got a lot of good stuff for you here. And also, by the way, some of this stuff I'm going to have you jam right here live. But before we do, let's go through some of these PDFs. One thing here, the mixed Lydian altered ninth. Now, it's a little bit confusing because we want to think of our notes in terms of their value and not their register. Okay, so this note here is going to be this note here is the highest in sound, right? But it's the lowest physically. Okay, so this red root note here. But the value of these three red key notes here are the same without concern of the register. So this is just a reminder that you want to arrange your orientation to think that you're building up in this direction, and even though the sounds will go down as you do that. So that's very important. So anyway, but here you can at least tune into your three keynotes, and so this is one of the main ones for you to go over, and I sent you the video to go along with this. So we'll go ahead and move on. The next one is, they're not in any kind of order. Yeah, this is what I went over before, and I'm going to go over that little demonstration about Louie Louie. Again, choosing, making a stand and saying, hey, 7 notes we're going to use. We're not going to use 5 at a time. And then students will say, well, what happens if I use one of the other ones? Well, you're now using 7 different notes. What happens if I use more than 7 notes? And we have ways to also theorize about that. Theorize is also a word. Theory is a noun and a verb, So anyway, these 7 tones that we're choosing, which we start on the first note being the scale that has the second to the brightest sound. The brightest sound is Lydian. So many people think, maybe not so many, but a lot of cats, like when they get really out there in jazz and advanced, they feel that the Lydian should have been one, that nobody really thought of that, because if it was, then you'd be going from brighter to darker, straight across. Whereas, as you can see here, 1 is our major, that's our regular, dee nee 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 nee, and then 2 is during do 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 do, so and so forth, all the way up to Lydian. Ba, hey, let me get oriented. Ba, ba. Oh, I'll play it on the guitar. What am I talking about? So if it's 1, here's C. That's your regular. You see, but the Lydian here. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. So the Lydian here is. See, it's brighter because in the major you have that 4, which is very nice. It becomes suspended. It's a big thing. But that 4, it's raised with the Lydian. So you have. Now, I think the reason why Pythagoras chose the major as the 1 is just because it's just more musical. It's do a deer and so forth. So this like. So the only reason why I'm making a big deal about this is because we're just getting started, and one of the things you need to understand about theory is that it is exactly that. You're just theorizing, and so I'm going to say from now on 1 meaning major, meaning Ionian, and because this is how we do it. But that doesn't mean to enslave yourself to that. It's just like you need to know that, because if you go to some country, to use an analogy, you need to speak the language enough to get around and stuff. So we don't want to be, we don't want to be so deep in our theory that nobody can even understand what we're talking about. So from this point on, I'm going to just make that very clear, and you can just keep it. I'll remind you here and there, but that we're sort of arbitrarily choosing which one is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. But this is how it is, and that's all. Later on, you will get to the point where you go from 1, you pivot to anything from 2. So every single note becomes a sort of a center of the universe to do anything that you want to do, and so forth. So anyway, enough of that. So now the idea is that what can we do with these 7 tones? Well, one of the things is to build a chord on each one. You can also build a scale on each one, and you can also build a sub-key on each one. So today we're going to go over building a chord on each one, and I'll just play a 7th chord on each one. The last one is a minor 7 flat 5, or a non-root 9th. So when you go to you add a 7th on top of it in this form, it gets really good. But again, it's leading somewhere, and these people who do these things like and all this stuff. Those are all. That's just like it's equivalent of a modulation. So right away we can get rid of this diminished chord, and right away we have 6 chords to deal with only. So one of the first things and primal things that's got to be so part of your subconscious is that there are 6 chords. They're always major, minor, minor, major, major, and minor. And the example I gave before, I'll just do it again in case you missed some of it, is very interesting because it's, if you take 1, 4, 5, you got so many tunes, Sloopy. You know what? I just found out too that in the video for "Hang On Sloopy," there was a girl dancing who was really attractive. That was his wife. Get off of my cloud too. That was his wife. The guy in Hang On Sloopy, Rick Derringer, that was his wife, who did the video for him. Yeah. It's something else. But anyway, here I go. So it's if you go, but the difference between and I get off my cloud is like, hey you, get off of my cloud. Hey you get off of my cloud, baby now. Twist and shout. Come on, baby now. And millions. It's on and on. That's all they did, right? Except, and try not to talk because there's the delay. Just take it in. So it's we'll do Skype later after this. So it's what was I going to say? Okay. So with Louis Louis, what they did is a key change on the 5. So they went 1, 4, and then 5 is flat. See, instead of the major third, it's the flat 3. So, they flattened the major third on the 5 to make it a minor. And that, yeah, and so that's how you get the sound. Louis Louis, oh, baby, we can go. Yeah. Louis Louis. Otherwise, it would be Louis Louis. Oh, baby. You know what I mean? But don't respond because it's all delayed. Just take it in, like I said. Okay, so because you'll confuse me. I'm realizing, like when you respond right away, I get confused because of that reason. No big deal. Anyway, let me move on. So you're going to memorize that. That's one of the memorized things. Here is another chart that I'm going to give you. This is the beginning of getting your the notes on the neck together. Put this over here so you can see it. Because very simply, from every root note, you have the octave here and here. So this is the same as this. Same as this. So. And then I'm in an awkward position as I'm playing it weird. But now here, incidentally, in order to compensate for the piano, we're going to raise this F to an F sharp. And then, okay, so that's also a quick memorization. And then let's see what else we got here. Triple octave major is something nice. That is something happened. I don't know if the show actually might be over, but it's still running, so I'm going to still go. All right, so the triple octave E major, it sounds like this. Actually, the thing about this one, very quickly, just going to move this over. The thing about this one is that this pattern in the middle here, this one here is actually repeated in a lower register here and in a higher register here. Now, what's really interesting about this is that the two other disorienting things, which one of them is the B string being tuned to help your hand, and seeing the open strings as part of the fretboard. So in this case, you have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, right? And then from this position, we're continuing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And you can see here, because of the B string, you don't have to, you can start the scale on the first finger. See? I don't think, I'm not in the key, but anyway, but see, that's much easier than to go. There's a just so much more you can do with it. It's just so easy. And then the bottom part of the scale here is that to see that these two are beyond the fretboard. So in other words, this one would be like right here, and this one would be like right here. So in other words, you have to see it like da 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 da. In other words, the fretboard extends that way. Okay, so that's that one. And now the power notes. This is where we're really going to have to get you situated solidly. And the way the power notes work, I don't have my shot really set up, but it's what it is. I'm going to go in B here. Is 1, flat 3, 3. Oh no, sorry, 4, and flat 7. So in other words, this is the 1, flat 3, 4, and flat 7. Now, of course, the 4 is the big bending note where you're going to get all up into these demitones before you get to the flat 5. So, in other words, 1, flat 3, 4, bend, and then flat 7, of course. Okay, and this is your sort of foundation spot. And if you're in the E form, which is... Wait, no. The mixed leading alternate is E form, so I'll play that. Then you got... And then for relative minor, just like normally for the full form, you go from the first finger to the fourth finger. And then you still have your power notes, but in the G form. So I'm going to play the same thing physically, but it'll have a different sound. So here we go. See, as a, it's kind of like the country and rock. That's in the scale version of the pocket position, and we'll get more into that later because we got a lot to do here. Now, the next thing is I'm going to run through a couple of jams now, new ones, and you go ahead and play along with them. Okay? You can answer me on the phone. Can you hear me on the phone still?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay, I was switching to phone. I'm going to go ahead and play. I'm going to feed you some jams. First one is, we started with that, I think I already gave you smooth. Yeah, I'm going to start with that one. See what we want to do with that. I forgot that we're still setting you up, but this is good. This is good. You're going to get all hooked up here. All right, so let's go over a few things about hooking you up. So first thing is the speakers, and the speakers here.
Paul, whatever you were telling me up to now, I didn't have anything that on live stream. Are you gonna email me that or whatever?
What are you talking about? You didn't what on live stream? You didn't have the sound on? No, you had the sound on. What? I don't know what you're saying.
I had the sound, but I didn't see you physically, what you were doing.
Well, what were you seeing?
It was off.
What?
Live stream wasn't on at all. I was just, it was not at all. As I mentioned to you before, we got cut off. Nothing was there.
Oh, it got cut off. Well, you got to go back on.
No. What it is, I went back on, and it came that same message.
Oh. Well, listen, I'm running the tape, so I don't. I'll have to straighten you out in a minute. I'm still running. I don't want to ruin your video. These have got all the references for you on here. So yeah, just hang on a minute. I'll take care of you in a second there. Okay, so here we have the Alesis Elevate 3 studio monitors. These are only 3-inch monitors. This is exactly the ones that I have here, and I'll show you a quick picture of my setup here, and because these are gonna fortunately be very low cost, comparatively amazingly low cost, really good stuff, but you got to really be careful. So we're going to make sure we get everything exactly right. So here's my studio. There's Sanji, the last of my life. Dr. Stanji, last of my life students. He's got actually this Vox amp here that has a tone room we're going to talk about in a minute. But these little speakers, I don't know if you can see them on either side of the television here. That's what I use. Yeah. You don't have to talk because I'm doing this for live stream. So anyway, those are the two speakers. That's why I'm all confused. I have to stop. I'm going to turn off the mic and live. All right. So those are the two speakers there. And as you can see, we have a computer here. This wasn't a mixer for Pro Tools. You can see up there on the TV monitor. But I actually sent that back. I have a little keyboard here, which would be a really good thing for you to get as well. And I can put on a recording program on there for you that are all free. And you can't even see my little amp there. But anyway, so those are what I'm using. You can see my TV is pretty big, but these speakers are pretty small, and they're really nice, and they're never going to blow anybody away there. So we will. These are the ones I'm thinking of now. These are only $99, and they have a great headphone output right here, and there's a nice port in the back. These are really, really good. I have not felt any loss at all using these, and of course I've used a lot of the best studio monitors, and this is the amp that I have. Now, this is a really cool thing for a lot of reasons. One thing is this has battery power. Another thing is it has a mic input. I don't know if you sing or not, or if you want to sing a little bit or what, but this has a mic input. If you have somebody come over who sings, they can plug in. That's a pretty nice thing. The other nice thing about it is it has an auxiliary in over here. That's where you put your music. And then has headphones, which is great because, see, what you do is you use these headphone outputs, stereo output, to go into your computer through an audio interface, which I'm going to show you in a second. But this output here from the phones is like a direct out. That is it's what it is this whole amp here is a very sophisticated amp modeler. These are model sounds from different amps around here. See, Tweed 4x10, 10 speakers, 4 of them. And it's really a neat thing because you can, they're very, very accurate. And another thing about it is that if you get your sound set just right, you can turn down the volume to a lower volume so you could be playing with the exact same sound without having the amp up and not bothering anybody. So anyway, I'm using this direct in only. I never even used the speaker. I use this direct in only, and that goes through these speakers here. And the sound is very, very nice. The only thing is, it's very, very hard to adjust the sound. So, again, I want you to be educated for this. I'm not really thinking this is the one for you because I know what I'm doing. There's only 2 sounds actually in here that I even use, but it has to be exactly right, and that's not easy. So, I'm going to go over this other thing now, which is pretty cool. This is where you're getting into virtual amps and stuff, and this one is really interesting. A lot of these programs are free and stuff, but there's a bigger Vox amp, slightly bigger than the one I just showed you that I have, that also has what we call a tone room. It has a whole virtual studio in it. So I'll just go ahead and play some of this. That's not me, but this is just a video. I think he's going to... So he just chose a different amp, and now he's rocking out. Mesa Boogie, Marshall. Mesa Boogie. Boogie. It's pretty cool. The only thing is I go more for tone and maintaining more the integrity of the instrument tone. But, heavy metal, the good thing about it is that those guitars are really easy to play, to get them to play fast. Now, here is, I couldn't find the one I wanted to, but this is the tone room. Let me see if I open it up. You can see a little better. I didn't have enough time to find the example I was looking for. But anyway, here in the tone room, this goes along with the Vox VT. It could be 20X or it could be the 8X. I'm thinking for you maybe the 8-inch speaker. This one is really pretty nice because see here on the left here you choose your amplifier, and then you can start choosing your pedals. Tape echo here. He's got chorus. He's got room. Let's see what the guy
like
says.
that. So I'm showing you this. Well, I've got my Adobe Audition running in the background. I'm recording with some a couple of.
That's what the amp looks like.
Behringer B2.
Okay, there you go. That's how this thing here. This is how he's plugging into the computer. So this is what the audio interface I was telling you about. So anyway, there's a lot of options. And by the way, the Amplitude, I think this one is free. I think you can get that for free or a free version. Now, here we have, this is really great because this is an audio interface, and this is one of the best companies. This is only $39 for stereo, which will be fine for you, but you will need stereo because the output from these amps from out of the headphones is stereo. So you will need stereo, and one of these is for mic and guitar, or this input here is for just an instrument, as you can see. Let me see if Livestream is still working. I don't want to. Yeah, it's still working. Okay, so but this is the cheapest one though, and this would work. This one would work. Now there's another one here that is probably. And again, we're going to have to educate first and then, go from there. I'm not suggesting running out right this second. But very, very shortly. Look at this one. Huh. Anyway, there's some other ones that are a little bit better that are not very much more money. Here I was talking about the open air headphones, and this is the modern version. This is only $55. This is a modern version of the good old Sennheiser open air headphones that just changed the world. So this is a really good headphone. There's some other ones that are really great and a little bit better as well, like this one here, the audiophile. That's also open air, and that's really great. Pretty much as far as equipment, I'm thinking this amp here. Where is it here? Here, I'll go back. And I think it's a VT20, something like that. Yeah, here we go. One of these, I think, is the bet. One of these Vox amps that has the tone room in it. Now, Sanji has one like this, and it's not that much, though. The 8-inch speaker one is only $170, and it has the tone room and everything. Here's the top of it. See, it's not quite as cool as mine because you got these push buttons, but it has a whole lot more rooms in there. It's very hard to get a good sound out of it. That's the only problem. But I'll tell you what's a really good, interesting thing is that Sanji has the same amp. Oh, here we go. 1x8. This is 179. Yeah, this is the one. And Sanji has the exact same amp. And it's, like I say, it's very hard to get a good sound out of it. I mean, a professional sound right off the bat. But see, I can program his by plugging into it. There's a USB port here somewhere. And you plug that USB port in, and then that whole sound room comes up, And what's really cool about the sound rooms too is they have over here, they'll have the different cabinets as well, and then you can even choose the microphones. I couldn't find that one for today, but anyway, it's really cool stuff. So actually, yeah, I'm kind of talking myself into it. This is an example of the plug-in that's stereo. This is more what we're talking about. So you have two microphone inputs, or that could be guitar inputs, and then they have also the inputs and outputs in the back, which is it's just a lot easier. So I don't know, maybe saving the $60 wouldn't be worth it. And so probably an audio interface like this. And then this amp here. This amp is very cool, and I had forgotten that it actually has the Valvetronic. See, that's the thing. This has a tube in it to give you that even order harmonic. So, yeah, this is very cool, and they got a price drop too. Yeah, I'm going to coordinate something with Sanji when he comes the next time for a lesson. I'm going to have him bring over his amp. When he brings over his amp, I'm going to plug it into this computer, and I'm going to go live stream and show you how the amp works on live stream. on your next lesson. So that's what I'm going to do on that. I think that's the amp for you. Right now, though, I mean, there is some urgency on it because I do need to get you electrified, or I guess you're going to bring the acoustic. Okay, so we'll let that go for now. I'm going to stop the live stream now because I never do them this long because it becomes tedious when you go back. But no big deal. We're just learning how to do it, and I'm going to go ahead and stop.